Let's read the play On the Face of It, written by Susan Hill. Susan Hill is an English author of fiction and non-fiction works. Her novels include The Woman in Black, The Mist in the Mirror, and I Am the King of the Castle. She received the Somerset Maugham Award in 1971 for her novel I Am the King of the Castle. She is known to explore the inner fears and loneliness. Her works reflect honest suffering and optimism. Even in the play On the Face of It, she depicts the fears of the handicapped of being isolated and discarded from the mainstream society. There are two main characters, and the play centers around them only. Derry is just a young boy, barely 14, and one side of his face is burnt with an acid. Mr. Lamb is an old man. He had lost one of his legs during the war, and he has a tin leg. And both these characters are amazing characters, no doubt. Derry depicts to the core the carelessness of society and what happens to a person with a burnt face. Beautifully and very vividly, he describes his inner fears, and therefore there is a similarity between the two characters in a limited way. Derry and Mr. Lamb both are physically different and deficient, or rather they consider to be. They are mistreated by society and both have a sense of loneliness. But apart from this similarity, the differences in their approach, in their attitude. Derry has withdrawn himself from the society. He hates people, he shuns company. He has become all the more pessimistic, and being a young boy, he thinks only about his face and people. Irrespective of what anyone talks to him about, he comes back to his face and people. On the contrary, Mr. Lamb is an open-minded person. He is quite practical. He is there to welcome anyone and everyone whosoever enters his garden, and he does not bother about the people. Rather, he feels he is happy in the lap of nature. He is quite optimistic, and he has a very positive outlook, which is there owing to his age, experience, and his acceptance of his situation. So in this play we meet these two characters, Derry and Mr. Lamb. At the beginning of the play, we just get to know that Mr. Lamb is sitting in his garden, and all of a sudden he finds that somebody has jumped in, and it's Derry. He just greets him, he welcomes him, but Derry seems to be afraid, and he simply says that he has not come there to steal anything. Mr. Lamb does not rebuke him. He simply welcomes him and tells him that the gate is always open. So right from the beginning, we find that Mr. Lamb is quite accommodating. But Derry is filled with many fears, and he simply feels that Mr. Lamb is trying to divert the mind and the topic, and he simply talks and talks. Mr. Lamb tries to talk to him, tries to draw him out, and what he gets to know is that Derry hates society, he hates people owing to his burnt face. He tries to just tell him to divert his mind. He shares the story of Beauty and the Beast with him. He shares the other stories, but nothing matters to Derry. He feels that people just comment on his face. They hate him. They cannot bear the sight of his burnt face, and so the cruel remarks of the people, the cruel words of the people are imprinted on his mind, and he feels that no one loves him, not even his mother. So this is actually what we find in Derry. Somebody, who is badly hurt, quite likely, because of his burnt face, but more so because of the society, because of the attitude of the people who cannot even look at him, and they feel disgusted just by looking at him. And he is a growing boy. He feels the need to be loved and admired, but it's far, far away in his case. So Derry, of course, is a very close character. He does not want to mingle with anyone. He hates people, he hates society. But as the play moves on, we feel that Derry was not willing to listen to Mr. Lamb. So he shows him that he too is quite similar, and people tease him the same way, people treat him also the same way. And then he shows him his tin leg. On seeing the tin leg, Derry somewhat eases, and he gets to feel that if this man is talking about something, it could be true. Mr. Lamb simply says that children do come to his garden, but they just call him Lemmy Lamb because of his leg. But it does not matter to him what people call him or how children treat him. What he likes is that if anyone is there around him, he welcomes. He likes to talk to them, but most of the time he's lonely. And so he has found a good company in nature. And even though the others feel that the bees buzz, he feels that the bees sing. So everything is different for Mr. Lamb. Weeds are not weeds, they are weed garden for him. And he likes to be amidst nature, and he feels that there is life beyond the people, beyond the crude comments of the people. So he has gradually learned and experienced life by watching, listening and thinking. And the more he thinks, the more he finds beauty in the world around him, and he is fascinated by that beauty and he enjoys life. So Mr. Lamb is there to just draw out this boy because he finds and he knows the pains of this boy. So he gradually asks him what he likes. Does he like anything or not? And very quickly came the answer. Derry said that he likes the rain falling on the roof. That was a great consolation for Mr. Lamb. He simply said that you are not completely missing. You're not completely lost. There is something in the world that you still enjoy. And if you want to enjoy life, you'll have to release yourself from the people. You'll have to come out from the closed shell of thinking about the people. There is the world waiting to be enjoyed. And gradually when Mr. Lamb talks about these things, Derry wonders. And he asks Mr. Lamb, why is it that he is different from others? And Mr. Lamb simply shares the secret of his happiness, that is watching, listening and thinking. So gradually, the boy who was quite withdrawn is ready to listen to someone. And it's the first time that he gets to realize that life is worth enjoying, that the world is beautiful, and he can enjoy life. He can live if he shuns people, or he just forgets about people and looks to the things that he loves doing. So gradually there is a change in Derry, and he feels that Mr. Lamb is a strange man. He talks about strange things, but then he talks about things that matter. And being influenced by him, he just promises that he would go to his home but come back. And that was the moment for Mr. Lamb to throw a challenge to Derry. And he said that a lot many boys come here, but they all go away, and you are no less. You would go, but you would not come back. It is at this particular point that Derry says no, he is going to come back, and he challenges Mr. Lamb that he would show it too. Derry runs to his home. He tells his mother about Mr. Lamb's place, but his mother had her own fears. She simply told him that she had heard about Mr. Lamb, the strange man who lives alone, and she wants him to go to him. But that moment, Derry did not listen to his mother. He simply felt that this is the moment of release. If he does not run now, he would always be confined to his own place and he would never find release. He would not grow up at all. So he just tells his mother that no, he is going to go, and he runs to Mr. Lamb's place. He is full of spirit, he is enthusiastic. But the moment he reaches Mr. Lamb's place, he finds that Mr. Lamb had fallen down and he was lying inert, motionless. So Derry is in tears when he finds this happen. Mr. Lamb, his great motivator. Mr. Lamb, his mentor. Mr. Lamb, his guide and guardian, was no more. But then arises the question, what would Derry do now? There are two chances. Either he would go back home and be the old Derry, or he would live just like Mr. Lamb, away from society, away from people, but to explore the world that he wants to enjoy. There is enough reason for Mr. Lamb to have motivated Derry the way he wanted, and perhaps Derry is going to be independent. He has found a release and he is going to live his life his way. So the question is open-ended. What would he do now? So these people, need to be joined by the mainstream society. The play depicts the callousness of the society towards the physically impaired. And because of this, there is a kind of sense of alienation and isolation suffered by these handicapped people. The need of the hour is that they must have a zest for living, and people must not sympathize with them but treat them equally, be strong supports to them, and let them enjoy and live life. If this life is given to everyone once, and everyone must contribute to make things easy for others. Read the play.